The gauge presented in Part 2 of this program is the depth micrometer. Much like the outside micrometer, the depth mic is a precision instrument and should be handled with care in order to measure accurately. The parts of the depth mic, which are similar to the outside mic, are the sleeve and thimble. The thimble turns around the sleeve and has numbered markings printed on a scale from 0 to 25. One complete revolution of the thimble equals 1 mark on the sleeve, just like the outside micrometer. The depth micrometer has a base rather than a frame. The part being gauged is placed against the base. The rod of the depth micrometer protrudes from the center of the base and is extended or retracted by turning the thimble. The lock is located between the base and the sleeve and is used to lock the rod into place when a reading is obtained. There is a cap nut located at the end of the thimble, which can be removed to replace the rod. As the name implies, the depth micrometer is used to measure depth. It's most commonly used to measure the depth of holes, slots, recesses, or from the end of a part to a feature like a shoulder. Depth mics are designed to hold different sized measuring rods. The rod supplied with the mic cannot be interchanged with any other depth micrometer. They are calibrated and specifically matched to the 1 micrometer they come with. Depth mics commonly come with 3 measuring rods. These rods are designed to measure depths on parts from 0 to 1 inch, 1 to 2 inches, and 2 to 3 inches. The gauge crib also has a depth mic available with a set of 6 rods that range from 1 to 6 inches for gauging larger parts. The 3 rods can be changed by removing the cap nut and inserting them into the end of the mic. Make sure the rod is properly seated and the cap nut is tightened. The scale on a depth mic can only measure a total of 1 inch. When measuring a part with any rod other than the 0 to 1 inch rod, it is necessary to add the additional rod length to the reading to obtain an accurate measurement. So when using the 1 to 2 inch rod, you have to add 1 inch to whatever reading is obtained. When using the 2 to 3 inch rod, 2 inches must be added. It's important to know what size rod you are using to measure accurately. Depth mics have a standard rod diameter. However, depth mics with smaller rod diameters are also available from the gauge crib for gauging parts with smaller openings. The depth micrometer has been calibrated to take precise measurements, accurate to 1/1000th of an inch. Check your mic for a loose cap nut, bent measuring rods, and loose or binding action of the thimble. All of these could mean inaccurate readings. Before gauging starts, zero in the mic. Use a clean shop cloth to wipe off the base of the depth mic and the end of the measuring rod. Turn the thimble to retract the rod into the base. Now place the base against a clean flat surface. Using a light touch, slowly turn the thimble down to 0 on the sleeve scale. As the end of the rod touches the flat surface, the thimble should read 0. If the mic doesn't zero in, and you have checked for a clean surface and base, take it to the gauge crib to be checked. Wipe oily parts dry before gauging them and check parts for burrs. Any burrs or dirt can cause the base to rock on the surface being measured. The depth micrometer is designed to be held in the left hand between the first and second fingers with the left thumb holding the part firmly against the base. The thimble is turned with the thumb and forefinger of the right hand. When gauging parts, you must develop a feel for the correct amount of pressure to be used. Practice zeroing in the mic using the 0 to 1 inch measuring rod to develop the light touch you will need to gauge parts. The sleeve and thimble on the depth micrometer have scales that are divided and numbered exactly the same as the outside micrometer, except the reading is covered up by the thimble. Let's look at a sample reading. If the thimble were positioned here at 350 thousandths of an inch, the number 3 would be covered, and the thimble would be positioned on the 50 thousandths line between 3 and 4. Notice as the thimble is rotated, the numbers and markings for the reading are being covered. Because the scale on the depth mic is numbered in the opposite direction from the outside mic, a very common mistake when reading the depth micrometer is to call a measurement like this 450 thousandths rather than 350 thousandths. When reading a depth micrometer, you must determine the highest number and how many marks between the numbered lines are covered up. If the number 4 is covered up but not 5, we know the reading is between 400 thousandths and 500 thousandths. If the first mark between 4 and 5 is covered by the thimble, but not the second mark, we know the reading is between 425 thousandths and 450 thousandths. Then we read the thimble marking that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve and add that measurement to 425 thousandths. In this case, the reading would be 400 thousandths plus 25 thousandths plus 10 thousandths, which equals 435 thousandths of an inch. Let's read this depth micrometer in example 1. A is the last numbered marking on the sleeve covered up by the thimble. A equals 2, or 200 thousandths. B is the last mark between 2 and 3 that is covered up by the thimble. In this example, only the first mark after 2 is covered. The first mark is 25 thousandths. C is the mark on the thimble that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve. In this example, C equals 5, or 5 thousandths. We then add A, B, and C to get the total reading. A equals 200 thousandths, B equals 25 thousandths, and C equals 5 thousandths. A plus B plus C equals 230 thousandths of an inch. In this next example, A is 2, the last numbered marking on the sleeve that is covered up by the thimble. A equals 200 thousandths. B is the third mark between 2 and 3, since all 3 marks are covered by the thimble. B equals 75 thousandths. C is 21, the mark on the thimble that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve. C equals 21 thousandths. 200 thousandths plus 75 thousandths plus 21 thousandths equals 296 thousandths. The total reading in example 2 is 296 thousandths of an inch. This is example number 3. It may be helpful to follow along with the pencil and a piece of paper. Find A, the last numbered marking on the sleeve to be covered by the thimble. Four is showing, so 3 is A, which equals 300 thousandths. Now determine how many marks between 3 and 4 have been covered by the thimble. Two marks have been covered. The third mark is still showing. B equals 50 thousandths. Now locate C, the mark on the thimble that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve. C is 16, which equals 16 thousandths. Now add A, B, and C to obtain the total reading. 300 thousandths plus 50 thousandths plus 16 thousandths equals 366 thousandths of an inch. Now we will show you 3 sample readings on the depth micrometer to calculate on your own before reviewing them with you. Reading number 1. Please calculate the reading and write your answer on a piece of paper. Four is the last numbered marking covered by the thimble in reading number 1. A equals 400 thousandths. There are 2 lines between 4 and 5 covered by the thimble. The third line is right next to the thimble. The mark on the thimble that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve is 0. This means the thimble is right on the third marking between 4 and 5. The third line equals 75 thousandths. B equals 75 thousandths and C equals 0. 400 thousandths plus 75 thousandths plus 0 equals 475 thousandths. The total reading for reading number 1 is 475 thousandths of an inch. This is reading number 2. In reading number 2, 5 is the last numbered marking covered by the thimble. A equals 500 thousandths. All 3 marks between 5 and 6 are still showing. However, the mark on the thimble that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve is 0. The thimble is right on the first mark between 5 and 6. B equals 25 thousandths. C in the sample equals 0. 500 thousandths plus 25 thousandths plus 0 equals 525 thousandths. The total reading in reading number 2 is 525 thousandths of an inch. Now reading number 3. Even though the 6 in this reading can be partially seen, the mark under 6 is covered by the thimble. A equals 600 thousandths. All 3 marks between 6 and 7 can still be seen. Therefore, B equals 0. C equals 13 thousandths. The mark on the thimble that matches the horizontal line on the sleeve is 13. To find the total reading, we add 600 thousandths plus 0 plus 13 thousandths, which equals 613 thousandths of an inch. We will now give you time to calculate the final 2 readings off the depth micrometer and confirm your answers. Reading number 4. The total reading for reading number 4 is 683 thousandths of an inch. Now reading number 5. The total reading for reading number 5 is 842 thousandths of an inch. This concludes the program on the depth micrometer. If you had trouble calculating the readings or are not quite certain how to obtain them, Please view part number 2 of this presentation again. When you are comfortable with reading the depth mic, continue on to part 2 of the written material and performance exam. This program was produced by Honeywell Residential Factory Training.